Welcome to Happily Ever Afters, where love doesn't stop at romance. Join us as we share the tales of everyday magic and celebrate life's sweetest moments. Hear inspiring accounts of love, intimacy, and pure joy as we uncover the secrets behind true devotion and partnerships that really work. Brace yourself for a full-on heart-melting. Here's your host, Carlos Clemente.
Hello, America. Welcome to Happily Ever Afters. I'm here with my co-host, Dorothy Lucy.
Hello, and hello to you guys.
All right, our guests today are Alix Angeles and Vinny Cardinelli. I just like saying it that way, so don't get upset. I just like it. It's a great.
I love it.
All right. Okay, you want to tell us a little about them.
Well, I mean, you guys are both brilliant actors.
Yeah. Both in the entertainment industry, and we grew up acting together.
So that's the part I want to hear about. You met when you were like babies.
Yeah.
We were very young. We were children in summer theater camp together when we were 11 and 14.
And do you remember anything from back then?
I do. I think I remember him more than he remembers me from that time, honestly. But he was like the star of the show and, you know, heartthrob. He looked like JTT. And I was like, I'm going to marry him. So.
Wow.
And you were what? You were 11?
Yeah.
As legend has it, she apparently pointed out to me and said, "I'm going to marry him," to her sister.
Yep.
And,
so there's proof of that.
Yeah. But we didn't end up dating until much later. We were actually friends for a long time first, which I think is very important. We were also, at that age, 3 years can feel like a lot.
Yeah.
11, 14 it's like almost different worlds.
I mean, I'm sure you looked at her like a baby, like a little kid.
Yeah, and it wasn't until we were a little older, you know, like 15 and 18 and 16 and 19, where it feels a little bit like, we're getting a little closer in age. But I usually was out of the country. I went to school in London, and she was in the United States still. And it wasn't until I think we were about 23 and 20, basically in college, that she finally
I made it happen.
Made a move.
I was like,
But you always knew the connection was there?
yeah.
Yeah, we were, like I said, we were really close friends. But when you know somebody from when they were young, you kind of, in your mind, at least I sort of remembered her being so young. It didn't feel like a real possibility to date someone who was like, oh my God, she's so much younger than you, you know, when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
But then as you get older, it's like we're basically the same age, you know?
Yeah.
And when you have that history, I mean, I met my husband when we were both in college. You know, it's nice that you have that foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, a very deep circle of friends that, you know, we could all vouch for each other, and we all were already friends. So it was just kind of like becoming a family for real. Yeah.
It's tricky when a lot of our friends now are dating as they're older, like meeting somebody who you haven't known for 10 years already. We were so lucky that we had such a long history already.
And how did you reconnect, or did you stay in touch as kids?
We were in touch from when we met, but just like doing theater productions, you know, on and off. And then
when I was always with a different girlfriend. And then when I finally broke up with a different girl, she took some gumption and she...
I wrote him a letter, like a note. And it was like declaring my love kind of note.
She left it on the hood of my car. And I remember coming back to my car and seeing this letter, like a handwritten note. And I read it, and it was very sweet.
It was basically like, enough's enough. Let's just be together now. I love you, okay? And
I've loved you a long time.
Yeah. But we were the kind of friends that, and I mean, in theater, it was all such a love fest. We already said I love you to each other just as friends. And so I had to qualify it. I was like, I love you, but like you, you know, like I love you.
So how, career-wise, how has that ever been a hindrance to your relationship, or it just helped create a better bond?
I think it's only been great that we've had such a strong history. I mean, the fact we both came up through theater and acting, she still is an actress, and I went into more producing. I think it's super helpful that we both have that sort of common history.
Yeah.
Personally.
I will say that it probably is good that we are not on the exact same career path, just because
That can be tricky.
because it's so unstable. And I guess there would be some potential for competition, but I don't know. I think we were always very supportive of each other.
It's funny, when we got married, I will say we had some rocky years. It starts off rosy with the letter, and we fell in love, and it was great. But we were still young children in our early 20s, and what relationship can stand that? So I would say the first 4 or 5 years were tumultuous.
It was on and off,
and a lot of our friends were not happy with us because we kept sort of on again, off again, which people hate, especially in a small circle of friends. They were like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?
Why do you have to keep breaking each other's hearts?"
But then when we finally made it work, and at our wedding, a lot of people were talking about how they were so happy that we finally were able to make it work.
Yeah. And the thing that actually made it work was, I think there was this rubber band kind of scenario that we kept falling into, where we would go do our lives and, be out of the country and go off to New York or wherever. And then we come back for like Christmas, and we would see all of our friends from our hometown together, and we would see each other again and kind of fall back in together.
Yeah.
And so we broke up for the last time we broke up, and we were like, you know what? This is not a healthy pattern. We need to either find a way to be apart in a healthy way, or be together in a healthy way. And so being broken up actually went to couples counseling.
We did, actually. And that was that probably was the reason why we stayed together now, actually.
Yeah. Because I actually went into there, I was like, I just want to be able to let go for good, and just be friends.
Or stay together.
But that was my intention. And then it was so good that, we got such good communication out of it that we ended up back together.
So you went to counseling basically to break up?
Yeah. In a healthy way.
But it didn't work.
It failed.
Apparently not.
All right, so what was said that bonded it together?
We're big fans of therapy. I mean, it's really helpful to have that sort of common vocabulary, and it helps sort of break down really having people hear each other, because especially when you're in your 20s, you're still kind of figuring things out about yourself, let alone a partner.
Yeah.
It's really, really helpful to just get people on the same page and really hear each other, which can be hard.
If I could boil it down to a really a nugget of wisdom that really shifted my perspective on the relationship was, I think it was Stephanie that said, there's Vinny, and there's Alex, and then there's the relationship. And in a healthy relationship, you have to take care of all three. And that was really a turning point, because
having this sort of separate entity that we were both responsible for taking care of.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so hard in your early adulthood to be in a committed relationship, because you are supposed to developmentally take care of yourself. And then when you're in a relationship, there is this third thing that it's not necessarily compromise. It's just you're taking care of the entity that is us.
But I think that makes so much sense, because, my husband and I have been married now 30 years, and we always think it's because we had very independent lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. And you got to have that sort of taking care of each other as individuals and then as a unit. And we've been together, it'll be 20 years now, because we've
you're babies.
I know. We were together 10 years.
You have a baby. You have a 2-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a
and
2-year-old.
how has that changed the dynamic?
That's a good question.
Gosh, we don't get to just hang out and talk to each other as much anymore.
It's definitely tricky. I'm sure people all can relate to the difficulties of maintaining a strong romantic relationship while having a child, especially in the early years. But I don't think we're really upset about it. We see the complications and the difficulties, and we find that little squirrel away little nuggets of time when we can.
Yeah, but I think it was a couple days ago. I was like, I miss you, even though we've been together for all. But
the together time has been a lot of go over here, travel this, kind of
a lot of
busy.
Have you found new ways to communicate, like the look, the body language, not always verbal, just so that you know that, hey, we're still connected?
That's a really good point. I think so, especially with the child around you. There's a lot more just sort of energetic listening, because you can't necessarily have those conversations in front of a child.
or just like a hug or a snuggle, holding hands. You know, it's not like we can have a big conversation. I think you can say a lot by just a touch when we know that we have something that we need to like, you know, hash out, but we can't right now. It's nice.
I feel like that's something we're both pretty good at, is doing we have some other friends that tend to, and you know, everyone's each their own. Maybe they tend to have those conversations or those fights or disagreements sort of publicly. And like Alex and I tend to, we'll sort of recognize there's a moment of conflict, and we'll both sort of like check, like we need to talk about this later. And we don't even say that necessarily, but we sort of clock it. Okay, we're going to talk about this later and not right now. And this isn't the best moment for it.
And I mean, you guys are so busy too. And Alex, you worked with J-Lo on This Is Me Now, and then you're doing a horror movie. I mean, you have a busy and varied career.
Yeah. And so does he.
So it's actually tricky. Like I produced a lot of commercials, and I just did a horror movie a couple of years ago as well. So I feel like we tend to get really busy. Luckily, so far, separately, we're like, I'll get really busy for a few weeks or a month, and then suddenly she'll get really busy. This last few weeks, she's been very busy promoting her 2 projects, and I've sort of been, taking the primary caretaker role. But it's great that we can kind of switch off and do both.
Yeah, and it's wonderful that there's absolutely no hesitation for either of us to leave James with either one, and it's like that ideal co-parenting situation.
But because of the nature of the work, it is so it sort of fluctuates, right? So you're busy for a while, then you're kind of not as busy for a while, which is nice with the waves.
Okay, what are your projects? You just mentioned you're working on 2 projects.
Well, she's got 2 that just came out. It was Jennifer Lopez.
This Is Me Now. That was exciting. It came out last month, and An Imaginary, which was the horror movie about the evil teddy bear, that came out last month also.
Right.
And I have
now it's just yesterday is on digital, I believe. You can stream that.
That's right. And I also have another independent horror film that's on the festival circuit right now. So that's all stuff coming out.
I was able to just produce a commercial for our hometown, for the Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is where we're both from, Monterey. And we actually moved back up there when we had our baby. So we commute down to Los Angeles for work, but we're based up in Monterey again, which is so great to be closer to both of our families. Our parents are up there. So it makes more sense to be close to home.
Since you have been together a long time, and because she put a note on the hood of a car, give me your advice of true love.
Ooh, this is tricky. Well, along with the hood of the car, we should probably tell them about the Romeo and Juliet. That was a pretty big thing too. That was kind of a fun little. People always, her sister in particular, joke, oh my God, you did Romeo and Juliet with your husband before you even were together.
Yeah, one of the first, we started a theater conservatory together, and on the first day they were assigning scene partners and scenes, and I at this point had a crush for like 3 years, and so the teacher gave us Romeo and Juliet balcony scene, and I was like, what? My dreams are coming true.
So it was this very sort of it was in Carmel, which is beautiful if you guys have ever been there, and in the streets of Carmel in the nighttime, we did like a site specific sort of acting class where he would take us out and do these really. It was with John Farmanish-Boca, if anybody knows him. He's actually an acting teacher now in Los Angeles, as well as a director. And so he did this really cool thing where he'd take all these little, these teenagers out and doing Shakespeare in the middle of parks and public places. And he had her go up on this balcony, this beautiful balcony in Carmel, and he had me go find her, and we had to go do the scene in real. So I compared her to the moon with the real moon, and there she was. And we did the whole scene together. And we were not dating. I think we were 16.
Yeah.
And I was 19. But I remember even then being like, she's pretty great. And then I went in for the kiss at the end of the scene.
Oh.
And she turned her head.
I turned my head because I was like, no, your first kiss can't be pretend.
Oh. All right. Well, we're running short on time now. Okay. But I need one thing.
I give advice.
All right. Ooh. Go ahead.
What does true love mean? Oh, God.
I liked your don't fight in public. I think that's excellent advice.
I think so. You're checking in later. I think for me, it's about really taking care of each other, really, really taking the time to take care of your partner and make sure that they feel supported, and they'll do the same to you. But if you really give into that idea of taking care of the other person.
All right. Before we go, you're doing horror movies. Do you have a horror scream?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm usually the monster.
Yeah, usually she's the scary one.
Oh, okay.
And yet looks so sweet.
Yeah.
You're right.
Do your scary eyes. Do like.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
All right.
How can we stay in touch with you? How can people follow you?
I'm on Instagram. That's the only social media I'm on. It's just my name, Alix Angelis.
Well, we have a website as well. You can find some of her work.
Oh, yeah, alexangelis.com.
And I do not have a website, but I did produce a film called From Black that came out a couple years ago with Anna Camp. It was a horror film. And that same director, Thomas Marchese, is hopefully we've got another project we're working on. So look for something else from Thomas and Kelly Frazier and myself.
All right.
Check out
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing time with us. Wonderful. You're both beautiful. I noticed you guys were kind of like holding hands at times.
Yeah,
I saw that.
We're pretty physically connected, yeah.
All right. Well, happily ever afters for you and your family, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very
That
much.
again, real quick. I just want you
You
to
guys,
think.
bye.
Hold on. I just want you to look at him and say thank you for sharing your happily ever
Okay.
after.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you should do scary eyes. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And ready? And 5, 4, 3, 2 now.
All right. Thank you for sharing your happily. One more time.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for sharing your happily ever afters moment. It was a pleasure to talk with both of you. I look forward to meeting with you again. It's just fantastic. And it's just love is coming out of the screen here. All right. I saw you holding your hands. So even though you're the monster at times, you're not the monster at home. So that's the
That
good
is
thing.
true.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys are lovely.
Oh,
I hope you don't hate the word adorable because you are.
Oh, no, I don't
We don't hate that. That's fine.
Like being adored. Just promise me that you won't use this as the still shot.
As the promo.
There you go. There's the happily ever afters right there. That's a wrap.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This show isn't only about your stories, it's also about mine. I hope to learn from these captivating tales of love to enhance my own role as a partner, heartwarming stories, or inspiration to enrich your own relationship. Life is all about happily